Sometimes you need a shield, but you have no bulwark. So where do you get it? Well, I'll show you. This is an exoskeleton in Pripyat, like most exoskeletons. And at the music school location, there is a stash. This is my life savings, so don't touch it. But the reality is, there's an exoskeleton in there. So you can shoot out the glass, and then throw a grenade in. Let's get it in this time. Throw a grenade in. There we go. Blow open the door. Go through the stairs. Get your very own shield. You gotta go to the left. Go to the left again. Sprint through the thing that damages you. Heal it. It's important to do that step. And then here is your Bulwark exosuit. The Bulwark exosuit. Upgrade tree. So like with all exosuits and all armor sets really, aside from non-helmet ones, you can get the suppressor for cheap, so you should always get that. For the other upgrades, we have physical protection with wear resistance, which leads to weight reduction. And then with blueprints, you can get physical protection, wear resistance again, or you can get a carry capacity increase, and you cannot have both. You can only choose one. On the shoulder, we have electrical or thermal protection, which also leads to, it like condenses down from a fork to just thermal chemical, and then electrical chemical. In the center of the chest, we have weight reduction, wear resistance, which leads into psi protection 10% or radio protection 5%, and there's two of those. We cannot get a sprint mod with this exosuit, which makes it one of the worst ones, because not being able to sprint is really bad in this game. So the benefits of the exosuits are kind of undone. You can still move at normal speed, which is really what this would allow you to do, but you cannot sprint. So there's a helmet that gives weight reduction and stamina, and then this only has 2 artifact slots, but you can get it to 5 with the additional and makeshift artifact containers, and then you can get 2 lead containers, like 2 radiation protection containers. So compared to other options, also shout out to the guy who pointed out that one of the exosuits was damaged. Thank you for mentioning that, because I actually didn't notice for a little bit. So I'm making sure they're all repaired now. All right, so compared to other options, the weight is quite high. The maximum weight increase is quite low, and you can also not sprint, or you can also not sprint at all. So this is like arguably one of the worst exosuits due to lack of sprinting. Here are the stat differences between this and the PSZ-21 Sturm. So we have basically less C protection even when we go the C protection route. At base, this has 1 more artifact slot. Both can be improved to be at 5 artifact slots, but it only has 2 lead containers, which is a downside. And its value is actually higher than the Sturm, so it's objectively worse than the Sturm outside of physical protection, but you can also not sprint. You can sprint in the Sturm, you cannot sprint in the Bulwark. Against the Liberty just outclasses it in every way. It has more defensive stats across the board outside of psi protection. It has increased carry weight as well as a reduced base weight. It's a little bit more expensive, but not that much more. Like a difference of 80k for armor when it's hundreds of thousands is negligible. So Liberty just completely outclasses it. Compared to Diamond, Diamond also just outclasses it. It has the highest maximum weight increase. It has a low base weight. Its value is not unreasonably high. It has more physical protection, radiation, thermal, chemical, and just slightly less electrical. Versus the Operator, kind of the same story. The Operator just outclasses it as well. The Operator doesn't really give you that much weight increase, but it does weigh less than half of the Bulwark, so versus that, it's just not as good. And then versus the Ruby also just slightly outclasses it in physical, but it also drastically outclasses it for the arm servos, for the 20% increased accuracy, huge increase on carry weights compared to it. It's a little bit less than double the maximum weight bonus, and it just has significantly higher radiation protection, more or less nullifying radiation outside of the super dangerous radiation. So overall, the Bulwark, I do not recommend running. I would skip it. It's not really good. There's no real reason to use it. Now, if you want to bring it with you, to have tank armor, that can be fine, but there's like lighter sets of armor that aren't exosuits that allow for sprinting that just straight up outclass this. There's basically no reason to run this. It has none of the benefits that exosuits typically provide, which is in the case of Ruby and Operator, or yeah, Ruby and Operator, the 20% arm servos, so you get 20% more accuracy in addition to decent carry capacity or just good defensive stats. Or in the case of Diamond, Sturm, or really Diamond and Liberty, you get like the tanking and carry capacity. And then for Sturm is just kind of like a DLC, you know, relatively decent, kind of cheaper exosuit. It's like noticeably cheaper than everything else. So like it has good stats, it can still sprint, and it has a light, like a low repair value. So this is kind of like your budget exosuit or exoskeleton, and then you have your accuracy exoskeletons, and you have your tank carry capacity ones, which are also really good. So these are all relatively competitive to each other. This I don't recommend you run at all. But that's pretty much it for this armor review. I would give Bulwark like a 4 out of 10, maybe a 3 out of 10 for rating. It's not really that good for an exoskeleton because you lose sprints, but you don't even have maxed out physical protection, even when you dump money into it, and with getting 4 blueprints. So that's just really bad. If it had maxed out physical protection and better carry weight and lower base weight, it could be maybe like a 5 to a 6, but the lack of sprint really will get you killed a lot. So I don't recommend it at all. All right, that's it for this one. Peace.